Everybody, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. Tammy Talks here. Let's get into, and just like that, season 1, episode 4, Some of My Best Friends. If you are brand new to my channel, go ahead, hit that subscribe button, thumbs up the video if you enjoyed today's content, hop into the comment section, and let's talk about this, y'all. So we are back for another episode. I skipped last week's episode, one, because I forgot about it, and two, it just wasn't a whole lot. Super fast recap of last week. It was really Carrie dealing with the aftermath of Big being gone, and trying to get back into her life. So they were at the reading of the will, and she found out that Big left his first or his last wife, Natasha, $1 million. So the episode is Carrie like following her, like, or actually going through the city, initially following after her and then like bumping into her. They have this conversation, and that was kind of it. That was really it. One thing that was kind of noted is that they did talk, or Charlotte did notice that Miranda is drinking a lot, and she wants to bring it up to Carrie. As usual, Carrie doesn't like to deal with the serious topics, so Carrie is just like, so Carrie tells Charlotte, stop noticing things. It's fine, whatever, whatever. Carrie can't deal with the drama, and then we saw her um eventually go back to her old apartment that she had throughout the series, and that's where she's going to move back into. So the episode picks up the next morning with Carrie waking up in her old apartment, and she's kind of looking around, and it is what it is for her. So now we have Charlotte, and we see kind of like a back and forth between Charlotte and Lisa, who is played by Nicole Ari Parker. So they are both like at coffee shops ordering coffee. We hear them both order too. They meet up together and they're telling each other, "Oh my God, I order you a coffee." Precious, right? So they are meeting with some other mothers of some other parents in the parent group, mainly mothers, and they're talking about, I guess, like the next activity, field trip, whatever. Charlotte is saying how she had the idea to go to one of the botanical gardens, and she knows this botanist and this other type of stuff. And Deirdre, who like kind of cuts her off, and it's like, or I thought we can go to the Humane Society, learn about yada yada yada, and then the kids can play with the dogs afterwards. Now, honestly, that sounds more fun for children. And Charlotte was like, or we can use my idea, because it took me a really long time to try to, narrow down this person. And Deidre was like, oh, I thought you dropped the ball. I hadn't heard from you. Lisa comes to her defense, and it's like, Charlotte has never dropped the ball. She's always on top of it. We're going to do Charlotte's idea, and then we can double back and do your idea at another time. So it works, right? So, Charlotte thanks Lisa for it. And tells her that, how do you manage these women? And she's like, oh, I treat them as if I was they're they work for me, whatever the case. So Lisa tells Charlotte, but on the for real, do not mention that you were invited to her husband's birthday party, because the rest of them weren't. You're the only mother in the group that was invited. So then Charlotte is like, oh no, I'll keep that, whatever, whatever. She tells her, I can't wait for you to meet my group of friends. And Lisa is like, girl, I'm free Thursday. And I said, Lisa, that is so sudden to be trying to plan something real quick, considering that y'all are like married women with children. No one's dropping anything for y'all to hang out. But Charlotte, who was like, for whatever reason, super overzealous with trying to be this woman's friend, it's like, yeah, I can plan a dinner party. So she canceled Harry's colonoscopy because she has to plan this dinner. Switch over to Miranda. She's in her kitchen the next morning. Brady tells her she smells like weed. Brady needs a whooping. I don't care how old Brady is. Brady needs a whooping. And she immediately gets defensive and she's nervous. And it's like, Miranda, you are the adult in this situation. Put your foot down with that little boy, girl. It is so annoying to watch her scenes with him. On top of the fact that not only is the girlfriend always there, but she's disrespectful too. So we go back to Carrie. She's in her apartment and she is getting like this old, super old coffee pot down because she wants to make a cup of coffee. While she is like looking over some of her clothes, the the coffee pot spills over. It's broken. It's old. Looked like it was from the 80s, girl. So she goes to a bodega up the street to get some coffee. It's somebody that remembers her from the neighborhood and tells her, you know, how he misses her. How does she like the new husband? She tells him that unfortunately Big died from a heart attack very recently. He feels bad. He gives her coffee, and I think it was like either a breakfast sandwich or a pastry for free. So she goes back to the apartment that she shared with Big. And when she walked in, you can see this like flicker in her eyes of her like looking around, expecting him to be there. So then she has this moment of like, damn, he's really gone, like gone. So she meets with Charlotte and Miranda, and this is like the only scene that we have of them of the three of them together throughout the entire episode. It was kind of weird, and she tells them that she went home and she looked, when she went home that she expected Big to be there, and like it feels weird to her now. So that she's going to sell the place. And they were just like, "Are you sure?" And she's like, "Yep, I'm done with it. I want to sell it. It's fine." So Charlotte then tells them that she's going to throw a dinner party for LTW, and she wants them to come. She tells Carrie, "If you're up to seeing people." I'm like, Carrie was like, "I see people all the time. I live in the city," but she tells her she'll be there. Miranda said as long as it's not tomorrow, she'll be there because tomorrow she's having dinner with her professor. And I said, where the hell did this come from? Where did this come from? Like that is weird to me. That is weird to me because how did we go from her professor like not really feeling her? Like did they really bond when she saved her from the Chucky down? But they're gonna have dinner. And then Miranda is like chugging her wine, and it's like, let's just order a bottle. And then you see Charlotte looking like, see, talking to Carrie, see, I told you this was an issue. And they choose to ignore it for now, but they tell her, we're not getting no bottle of wine. We're cool with what we have now. Don't be a juice head out here. So Carrie meets with a realtor named, I think her name was Seema. And she tells her like how she loves the house, the wallpaper, but everything has to go. Because a buyer needs to be able to envision themselves in a house. You have to stage a house. You have to stage an apartment. And by having all your stuff, your eclectic stuff, and your personal memorabilia and personal effects, it makes it hard for that person to envision themselves in the house sometimes. So she's like, we're gonna get rid of all of this. She goes to the closet, and Carrie was like, nobody touches my shoes. She's like, I completely understand because I name my purses. It's fine. So she gets to like the bathroom area, and she's like, oh my God, a Peloton would be perfect here. And Carrie is like, oh Lord. And Seema was like, what? And Carrie doesn't want to tell her, but she's like, you know what? Let's get out of here. I gotta go anyways. So the realtor offers to give her a ride since they're both going in the same direction, and Carrie starts smoking again. So Carrie gets to work for the podcast, and Chloe, who I feel like, if did y'all watch Glee? That looked like that one girl that was in the wheelchair back in Glee, the one that slept with Artie at prom. That looks like her, just more grown up now. But she's going in on them, talking about how their social medias are lacking. They haven't posted anything in a while. You got to have engagement, which is what social media is all about. And she tells Carrie, you have not posted anything for 3 weeks. Your page is like a corpse. And everybody was like, girl, read the room. Meanwhile, she is like arguing with the Asian man that works on the podcast. So there's like tension with them. And Carrie is like, it's fine. It's cool. Don't even worry about it. So they have to work on their social media, I guess. It was kind of a pointless scene, to be honest. It's kind of a pointless scene. So we have Charlotte. Charlotte is in bed with Harry, and she is going over the guest list for her dinner party. And they're like naming the couples that are coming. She has Carrie there to talk fashion. She has Miranda there to talk politics. She has Anthony and Stanford there as gay, she said. She has someone else there to talk this. And She then realizes, oh, so Harry suggests someone, another couple, and she said, no, they're really vanilla. And then like it clicks for her that damn, everybody coming is white. So he suggests that they invite the Jenkins in 4C. I said the Jenkins knew they was black. So she's like, great, I'll call, I'll text her. And Harry's like, we haven't, seen them in 2 years. She said, well, we lost a year because of the pandemic, which is everybody's excuse. Well, that year because of the pandemic. So, we lost a year. So she said, we lost a year because of the pandemic. So she texts her. So the next scene we see is Charlotte going down to this woman's apartment. And she's like, did you get my text? And she's like, I got all four of them. Charlotte says, well, I thought I'd only text you twice. My phone is tripping. I want to invite you to this party. And Mrs. Jenkins is like, I got your text. Did you get my reply? We can't come. We have something else to do that night. But, we'll get together soon. And Charlotte started to get really annoying with it. Like, no, well, why don't you guys just swing through? Like, kind of pressing her to the point where she was like, girl, we can't come. We can't come. So then Charlotte calls Anthony to ask about this, like, artist friend that he have who's black. And she doesn't want to say it like that, but she's trying to find anybody black to come. So she eventually approaches Deidre, the same woman that tried to overtake her idea for the little field trip, and tells her that she's having a dinner party. And Deirdre was like, cool, let me go call my husband, only for Lisa to come out and be like, I can't go tomorrow. We're going to the symphony with my mother-in-law. My husband didn't tell me, blah, 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 blah. So when Deirdre comes back, Charlotte is like, oh my God, I forgot that my husband has the colonoscopy, so we can't do it either. And she was like, see, I knew you dropped the ball occasionally. I said, see, Charlotte, you shouldn't have even put yourself into that situation. So then we have Miranda. Miranda is at dinner with her professor. Well, actually, they're at the restaurant. So they're waiting to get in, and the professor was like, I told you that I had a reservation. And the man was like, you keep showing me your phone, and I'll keep telling you that's cute, but it's not in my system. If it's not in my system, there's nothing I can do about it. So Deirdre is finally like, oh my God, I have this, like kind of going in. And then he finally tells her, I found it. You RSVP'd in San Francisco. So Miranda makes a little joke about, should I tell them we're on the way? And I'm like, I wouldn't have been laughing either, because not only one am I embarrassed, but two, like, I wouldn't be ready to laugh about it just yet. So when they're sitting down, they start talking about IVF. And again, I'm confused. When did they get so close that now, not only are they at dinner, but now her professor is just sharing something as personal as IVF with her? Weird. But they talk about whether motherhood is worth it, yada, 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 all that type of stuff. So Carrie and Seema go look at some apartments, and she makes Carrie is like pointing out different things, and Seema tells her this is why you have to stage your apartment and you take all your personal effects out so that people can really see the apartment and not be judging you for what you have in there. So after that, we have Charlotte. Lord have mercy. So Charlotte gets to Lisa's husband's birthday party. She is like grilling Harry to talk about black art, and all this other stuff. He just want to be able to mention that he read Michelle Obama's book and he loved it. So they get inside. Everybody there is black. Charlotte sees someone and it's like, oh my God, you're Leo's mom, Gwen. How are you? And the lady said, I'm not. I know who you're talking about. I am not Gwen. And I said, Charlotte, I know damn well. Oh, Jesus. I know that's embarrassing. That is embarrassing. So Charlotte was able to redeem herself later. They're gathering around for dinner. And Lisa's mother-in-law tries to shade her. And it's like, well, they ask her, what does she do? Charlotte says that she's just a full-time mom. stay-at-home mom. And Lisa was like, she's not. She's on the board at the Met. Like, you're don't sell yourself short. And they were like, so you know art? And Charlotte was like, yeah, I used to own an art gallery and all this other type of stuff. So the mother is like, oh, well then maybe you can talk some sense because my daughter-in-law is spending all this money, more money on this art than we spent on our house. And Charlotte was like, no, no, the stuff that she picked like is amazing works of art. And Charlotte is like naming all this black art and going through it. And I said, come on, Charlotte, redeem yourself for being low key racist earlier and basically saying that all black people look alike. So she's able to redeem herself, and I'm sure after that, like, everybody looks super impressed. So I'm sure after that, the rest of the night went super, super smooth. So Carrie gets back to her apartment, and she sees that it has been decorated completely, completely differently. It's all beige, and there is a Peloton there. So she calls before she sees the Peloton. She calls Miranda, who is drinking, and she's like, everything is so different, yada yada yada. So then she sees the Peloton bike, and it's like, oh no. So she grabs Big, grabs his ashes, and they go back to her apartment. Charlotte and oh, now it's so after that is then the part where Charlotte is talking about the art. So then we see Carrie is putting Big up on a shelf in her closet, and she tells him it's just until I know where to really, spread your ashes at. So she comes out, she sees a yellow envelope by her bed, and it's a letter from Stanford that tells her that he is in Japan. And we know that they had to do this because Willie Garson, the actor that played Stanford, actually passed away during filming, or before he could finish filming, I guess, all his scenes. So they had him. He's managing like a young K-pop artist or young Japanese pop artist or TikTok artist or something. So he actually sent Anthony a letter as well saying he wants a divorce. So that's how they're gonna write his character off of off of the series. So then we have Charlotte. Charlotte meets with Lisa. And Charlotte tells her how she was so nervous about having a dinner party because she was worried about her being the only black couple there. Lisa tells her, I was worried about you being the only white couple there, but was it okay? I didn't want you guys to feel uncomfortable. And Charlotte was like, were we? Did we seem nervous? And she was like, well, Harry sweated through his suit. So, but it's all in good fun. I guess I don't see why she wants to be friends with this woman so bad. It's kind of creepy. Kind of creepy. And then finally we have Carrie. She gets to the apartment she shared with Big, and Seema is telling her that got a couple offers, but she wants to have another showing to kind of drive up more interest, which is going to eventually drive up the bidding price. So she then tells her that unfortunately some movers like accidentally knocked over a frame because personal effects should have been put up. And Carrie like flips out on her and it's like, why were you touching it? Whatever, whatever. And it's a picture of her and Big, it looks like, at their wedding. And Seema is like, well, personal things have to be tucked away. So I was putting it up. It wasn't the movers, it was me. But the picture's fine, the frame is fine. I'll just get a new piece of glass. Carrie wigs out and it's like, no, this was on his side of the bed. It's glass that he touched all the time. You're being insensitive. And Carrie starts to be like a little bitchy about it. And she was like, I think you're being insensitive. And Seema was like, I definitely don't mean to be. If I'm coming across that way, that's not my intention at all. I guess sometimes people come across as insensitive when they don't mean it. And I guess this was just my time. Like last week was your time. And Carrie was like, I was not insensitive with you. Seema said you were. You were. So when I told you, that I was on all these dating apps, Carrie basically told her it's good for you to keep trying. Kind of like, maybe you'll get there one day, girl. Keep it going. And Seema took that as being insensitive. And Carrie kind of was like, I definitely didn't mean it that way. And Seema told her, and however, what I just said about replacing the glass for you, I didn't mean it that way either. And I think this is just an example of somebody finally checking Carrie. I feel like for so long on the show they cuddle her, and they don't really call Carrie out too much when she says and does shit like this. So Seema checking her, I appreciated it. And I think that was kind of like their first major fight as friends. So Carrie is like, "You want some sushi? I got some sushi." And so from there, they actually made up. It's kind of weird that this episode is really them like being with other people, making new friends. Let me know how you guys thought. Let me know how you guys felt about it. But that was tonight's episode. So this is, and just like that, season 1, episode 4, Some of My Best Friends. Catch you guys next week.